This is probably the perfect segue into one of our topics.
See, I knew that. That's why I went on that tangent. Yeah.
Slide in there.
Yeah.
Albanese talking on 2GB, unable to answer a simple question about whether or not his electricity bill at his private residence has gone up. Hopefully you guys have seen the clip. It's on 2GB's X feed. It was spectacular. He stuttered his way through the entire segment. He couldn't get his answer straight because obviously he didn't have his minder there to sort of help him reframe that answer. And he needs Daniel Andrews to help him.
I also wonder whether he would even know on his income with all the other.
You can't say that, can he? You can't say, I actually don't know. I don't deal with such things.
I have people who look after these things.
My people will get back to me on it.
That's right.
Because he's meant to be like, I grew up in social housing from a single mother.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, he's like, I live in the lodge. And I know I live a life of privilege. And then the guy's like, it's a simple question, Prime Minister.
Yeah.
And he's like, he couldn't get it out. And essentially what this is pointing out is it was an obvious answer. Well, yeah, it has.
Yeah. Correct.
And the fact that if he couldn't win that answer anyway.
No.
If he says yes, it has, well then boom, your price has gone up. And if he says, I don't know, it's like, so you're so privileged you don't know.
And if he says no, well, no one's going to believe him.
Correct.
That's not a credible answer.
And it'll just be like, well, he will prove it. But I just thought it was interesting. Did you watch the second debate? Probably not.
No.
Okay, there was a question. It was a got you question, and it was, what are the prices of eggs at the moment?
Yeah, they always do this. eggs, bread, milk, something.
Right.
Yeah.
And didn't ScoMo say that like milk was $2 or something like that?
Something like
I can't remember. Anyway, so Dutton, they got asked how much is a dozen eggs, and Dutton said $4.
Oh, goodness.
And then Labor, Albanese was like, they're hard to get at the moment. I think they're about $7.50.
Yeah.
And of course they're like, Albo's so out of touch.
If I find the cheap ones, they're $8.50 for the cheapest ones that I can find on a regular basis.
That's usually the price at the supermarket. But at Aldi, they do have caged eggs for $4.50. They're just not often there because they sell out.
Yeah, okay.
So you can get them for $4.50, but
the
law of averages tells you no.
That's not really the answer, yeah.
And it's one of those things, it's a got you moment. It makes him look like a total idiot. But let's be realistic. If you're the opposition leader, you're probably not buying your eggs.
And if you're, but also though, I do have a certain lack of patience for this sort of, I have a lack of patience for the questions, but I also have a lack of patience for the out of touchness. Gotcha questions are so well known, that track is so well worn that people who are aspiring to these positions and going through these debates should be prepped.
Yeah.
Their handlers, their minders, and themselves should be prepped and working on it. I don't debate regularly, but I know that debates are in my future, and I have a game plan for how I will prepare for debates when they come up in the future. And if you are going to be the opposition leader, if you want to be the Prime Minister, you better know the price of basic staples, the stuff that ordinary people that interact with every day. And ideally, you'd know that because you continue to interact with it.
Well, talking about a touch, this brings me to my second segment. So I'm going to bring you this. I really hate campaigning. Can I just say, I don't know how many people buy into it. Like whenever it doesn't matter who it is, Labor, Liberal, whatever, whenever they put their campaign messaging out, I'm like, this is so obviously propaganda. Just be fucking real. But, so I'm going to show you something. I'm not going to give you context. I'm just going to show you it. I'm trying to find it now. Maybe they've deleted. Oh, okay. Not going to say a word. I'll put it on screen for you guys.
Okay. So I just wait for this to cut across to my camera here, which it should do at any moment in time. Come on. Hello. Hello. What? Are you for real?
I am the favorite.
I cannot. What is going? Come on. Seriously.
I'll hold it up. There we go. I'll put it on the screen properly. Your thoughts before I say anything.
So my brain, there was a computer program that was one of these early graphic design ones where they first created like drop shadows and things like that. And it's
called Microsoft Publisher.
Okay. Like my mind goes to clip art, but it's kind of, this is like the late 90s called and asked for their graphic design back. No. I mean, that stuff can be done in a way that's clever, but see, okay. Let me go down a pathway that I think we'll both enjoy talking about. there is a world of difference in design, and when by design I mean when you're editing a documentary, when you're graphic designing something, when you're crafting a photograph. There is a world of difference between something that is pretty and helps you to tell the story versus something that is there purely because it looks good.
Yeah.
Okay, if there was a period of time there where everyone was adding in lens flares artificially over the top of their photos, right? Because the lens flare looks cool. Well, yeah, it looks cool in the right sort of an outdoor shot where it actually it's the context and everything else helps you to tell the story of what this moment was.
I feel attacked because I did do that in early days.
It doesn't look cool for the sake of looking cool. It needs to help tell the story. If you want to go with a Mario theme and you're telling something about the way cost of living has changed since you were a kid, that works.
Yeah.
But that is just kind of slapped on.
So I looked at that. So Gareth showed me and I was like, I don't get that. Is this a joke? Like, I don't get the joke. If this was meant to be some like clever like throwback to the 90s when things were cheap or whatever, the joke didn't land.
Yeah,
and if
correct.
it's too complicated and it's not like a quick, that's clever.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the Liberal Party. I am adamant that there is someone in there deliberately sabotaging them.
I've become convinced in this election, and
it has to be.
I'm coming from a different direction. I look at how every one of their leaders, the closer they get to leadership, the more spineless they become, the more useless they become, the more like a blob of jelly they become.
Yeah.
And so there is something about the advisors and the people that they are surrounded with. Once they become senior ministers and they're on that pathway to prime minister, someone in there, someone trusted, probably in their campaign team, is not on their side and is being given an enormous amount of influence, and they're using that to white ant the Liberal Party. I'm sure of it.
As someone who is in the industry of advertising and design, I look at that stuff and I'm like, this is so out of touch. I hate saying out of touch. It's like, that's too simple. It is not complicated to craft something that looks relatively good to convey a message. Like,
just look at me. I can convey a message, and I look like this. I mean, that wasn't hard.
To be fair, most of my design is all over you. So
that's actually true. Yeah, my books, my shirts, the DVD cover, the whole lot. Why is the camera looking at you laughing instead of looking at me talking? What is going on? I feel very, very marginalized. Is this what it feels like to be a woman? Am I only getting 7/10 of your screen time? Is that what's happening here?
I may have done something behind the scenes, programmed it to favour me. But yeah, when it comes to marketing and stuff, if a 5-year-old can't get the message, then it's too complicated, right? Like that's a general rule of thumb. I get what they were trying to do. I think I get what they were trying to do, but when it goes wrong, it goes spectacularly wrong to the point where you make a mockery of yourself.
Yeah.
And even when it comes to these kind of things, like the Liberal Party at the moment, they're stuck 20 years ago. And I know for some people they're like, oh, that's a good thing. I'm like, no. As in the way they communicate, the world has moved on. We're in an AI meme culture war. Like, if you're not playing in that space, you're no longer relevant. And the reason Trump does so well is the American right, or the American conservatives, invented meme culture. They are spectacular at it. Every time the left tried to do it, every time that Joe Biden or Kamala tried to do it, it fell flat and it looked disingenuous, because it is, because you've got like an elite level of people around there who are all very insulated, living in this echo chamber, all like, that's very clever. And it's not. It's completely out of touch with the regular person. And you see this, whether it's Dutton, Albanese, anyone that gets to that level of shielding from the haves and the have-not. Katy Perry, another example. Anyone that gets to a level of elitism, they get so sheltered that they get stuck in like this little time capsule of when they were like cool and hip and in it with it.
Yeah. And
then it becomes really obvious how sheltered they are. And when I see all these stuff coming out, the last, like Trumpet of Patriots, don't even. I'm like,
let's
guys, I'm available. And I'm not that expensive. Maybe I should be. But what is happening?
I don't know. I don't know what's happening, but gratuitous design. Hang on. Because this does actually relate to something we've talked about before. AI is going to make it easier to reach a base level of proficiency. Correct. It's going to make it easier to
democratizing mediocrity.
To churn out a picture. But the craft of a picture that tells a story without any words, the craft of a graphic design concept that connects people with nostalgia so they understand the message, that craft is not AI. That craft is a human being.
And the interesting thing about nostalgia, there's a couple of pages I follow on Instagram. I think I've talked about this before. It has to be a reference to something really niche. It's not like a blanket, oh, remember when yo-yos are cool? Because everyone's like, eh?
Yeah, yo-yos,
It has to be like, remember when you go to the milk bar and you had to get that mousse yo-yo and it was $5.50 and you had to get all your pocket change, and then when you got it, you'd do the first thing is like rock the cradle and you're like, oh, fuck, I feel attacked. Do you like, it's the message. You know, for example, do you remember Uncle Jesse from Full House? You know what I'm talking about?
I did not watch Full House.
Really?
No, we were not a TV watching family. My TV time was at friends' houses. It was illegal TV at friends' houses.
To be fair, I did grow up overseas, so maybe that was an American thing. I don't know.
Maybe.
But what's his name? Bloody hell, what's his name that plays Uncle Jesse?
I don't know.
It's just gone out of my head.
Don't look at me.
Oh my God, this is embarrassing. Anyway, that dude. He's now the drummer for the Beach Boys, right? Which is like, you don't know this.
So the Beach Boys are still around?
Yeah, hang on. Now this is embarrassing. How have I forgotten his name? Who played?
Okay, we need a second song.
Uncle.
So we've got the Tangent Time song for when we're doing tangents.
Jesse.
Now we need like a cover song for when Carly's Googling things.
It was Uncle Jesse in Full House.
It's Google time, Google time.
John Stamos. Jesus
Ah,
Christ.
John Stamos. Okay, yeah.
How did
I know who that is.
That was literally like in my brain and went,
yeah, okay. Yeah.
went off to
All right.
space. So John Stamos now plays as the drummer in the Beach Boys.
Right.
And there was just something, it was a Drumeo clip that I watched. I'm obsessed with Drumeo. I can't play the drums. I love watching that channel. And there was just something about this unique way this video was crafted where it was a reference to Full House, the Beach Boys, and it was just this 5-minute clip of me just going, oh, the 90s. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, because the Beach Boys had a resurgence in the 90s.
Yeah, because so it connected with your nostalgia.
It was just like, it was like all the right triggers were like ping, ping, ping. And I was, get all warm and fuzzy. And I was like, oh, it's Uncle Jesse,
Yeah.
That's how nostalgia works. You have to reference it to something so niche and specific. When you like cast a broad brush over everything, you miss everything.
Yeah, you miss it. Yeah.
So
all right, we're approaching the 1 hour mark, so we need to get to the next.
we've
next
hit
item.
4 freaking topics.
We are on fire.
I don't want to hear anything in the comments.
Well, we did take a little while to get into it, but honestly, I like that.
Yeah.
I like we're not just sitting. Well, today this week we're going to talk about blah blah
Welcome
blah blah
to the
blah.
nightly news.
Yeah,
Ding, 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 ding,
no,
ding, ding,
no,
ding,
for
ding,
crying
ding,
out
ding.
loud.
Do you like that I'm the sound effects guy?
And you're not even using the buttons now. You're doing it with your mouth. Listen, guys, if you think we take a bit too long to get into it, just think about it like going to the pub. All right, you're going to rock up at the pub. You're going to get your drinks. You're going to chit chat, and then you'll settle down. So basically, the problem is you're not drunk enough. Okay, drink a bit more before you listen to our podcast, and you'll be right.
You've just watched another short clip from the Oddcast, and if you'd like to see the full video, it is over at our dedicated channel. That is the Oddcast HQ on YouTube. We will see you there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and have a chat in the comments.